Welcome to the end of the truth. At the end of the truth.
The truth.
They are going to be completely destroyed tonight.
Speaking of that voice, did you see the David Wood stream?
No, I haven't watched
It
David
was
Wood in a
supposed to
hot
be
second.
Sheikh Uthman coming in live to debate, and for over an hour, he never showed up. And so half the panel just left because we're like, he's not showing up. And
Did
so
he?
the second they leave, IP goes, "Oh, the proof that you're scared to fight me."
Did he end up showing up or no?
I have no idea. My family was having dinner by the time they.
Oh. Yeah, I haven't watched David in a little bit.
I just saw it and I was like, "Oh, Sheikh Uthman live debate. That would be interesting."
Sheikh Ibn Fibbin.
Let's just say it was a lack of said debate. No, I'll go check real quick, actually. Giving people a chance. Okay, considering that he ended at 2 hours and 57 minutes, I'm going to guess no, he did not show up.
That's rough, brother.
No, he never showed up.
Wow.
Dude straight up didn't show up to a debate. That is wild. Wild. My goodness. All right. Well, I think at this point, our later upload of this, and by that I mean the processed version, will have everything going on. So sometimes the processing cuts out like the first 30 seconds,
Yeah.
which is dumb. So,
The proof. The proof. Yes. So, this is not going to be a refutation of every aspect of Judaism. It's going to be a refutation of the main one, which is that the Messiah has not come yet. I should say that the main accusation against Christianity. This is going to turn sort of an apologetic into a polemic.
okay. I was going to ask because I remember that I thought you were going to go a polemic route, but then I wasn't sure.
Well, it's kind of a both and. It serves it serves a twofold purpose, which really, ideally, polemics should.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right? Because I mean that's kind of the example that is set in Acts 17,
Sure.
where Paul both offers a defense of Christianity and an attack against the pagans.
Well, I actually just finished rereading for the second or third time. You might probably remember how to pronounce this. I'm trying to find it. The epistle to Diognetus?
I need to see the actual word to know how to pronounce it.
Diognetus.
It depends on the Greek
That's fair.
of it. English, I'd say that wasn't a bad job, but
It's probably a rough one. This is not the translation I was reading, but I have two translations.
I would guess either Diognetus or Diognetus, one of the two.
What do you think? It'd be a tus, maybe?
Oh, true. I didn't even think about tus. Yeah,
Diognetus, maybe?
yeah. I was
Or
thinking
that maybe
Omicron. I didn't
maybe that's too
consider
Latin.
Upsilon. Huh?
Maybe that's too Latin.
No, it depends on how you translate Upsilon.
But anyways, I was reading, and he
I'm
spends
sorry.
like
Can I just point out this occurred to me earlier in the week. Every single person says it as Upsilon. So why then do you translate it as a Y?
or transliterate. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, you know what I meant.
Yeah, I don't know. But I was finishing it today because I'm working 2 months ahead, and he does the same thing there, where he spends the first little bit kind of like a brief little polemic, and then it turns into apologetic, and that apologetic is also a polemic at the same time. It's like, yeah, here's what you worship, here's what we worship. Oh, by the way, here's how Christianity is so much better, not even just religion, but also in practice, and how we're the ones doing all of these things. Is I'm not puffing myself up. I'm just telling the truth. It was very much like the IP, like halfway through, it turned to the IP debate of like what is better for society, and it was all about how Christianity is better for society. I was like, all right, you just wrapped it all up nicely into one little letter.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean
But
that's
anyway,
essentially Augustine's City of God.
that's true. I haven't read that in a minute. It's just so
It's been a
long.
hot second.
It's just so long too. That's part of the reason.
Yeah.
But considering our upcoming projects, I'm gonna have to reread it. But when we get closer, I'm not doing that anytime soon. I gotta read through the rest of the apostolics, and then I gotta reread through the apologists. I think they're next. And there's one more category before we hit Nicene, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough delaying. So,
We can delay a little more. I mean, I have 6 pages of notes, but Josh, as you can attest, my eyes are horrifically bad. So it's
see,
all
when you say
20
six
point
pages notes,
font.
I know that's really more like 3 pages of notes because they have to be bigger font. Whereas if I say if like 7 pages of notes, you know, like, oh, crap, we are
Yeah.
gonna be here for a while.
Let's see.
Um,
If I set it to 12. Oh my gosh, how do people read that?
Having good eyes.
Yeah, three pages I've got
I would.
if I'm doing 12 point, but I cannot do that. Oh my
I feel like a
gracious.
genius.
Calm down.
Okay. Anyways, so I guess while people are coming in, and then to allow Caleb time to maybe gather any final thoughts or quips.
I don't have thoughts. That is honestly more accurate.
Uh, this month we are trying something different with our live stream setup. We are doing every Tuesdays. We're kind of doing I realized this, Caleb. For our YouTube viewers, they get 3 days in a row of a Bible study, but they're all very different
Oh,
studies.
I was gonna say lucky them, dude.
Because day one is our podcast study, and this week would have been Joy. Next week's gonna be Mountain, and then on Tuesday was Matthew and Exodus, and then Wednesday is Chaos Monsters. All of that's Bible study, and then Thursday and Friday is, um, like a little more academic, if you will, like
Yeah.
apologetics, polemics, and then like something like more research based, and then Saturday is like any highlights from stuff. I was like, dang. But then Thursdays we're doing. I kind of like this setup. I think we should continue this next month, where what we are doing
Lord
is
willing.
we pick a religion, and what we do is we either do.
Tear it to shreds. Just frick it up. Just mess it up to the core. Leave no survivors.
I was just gonna say we pick like 2 or 3 weeks where we do a like reactionary apologetic where they make the argument and we respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
That way we're not just making up arguments and people are saying, you guys are just making things up. They don't actually say this. No, we're quoting people. And then we do another 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how we wanted to spread it out, of a polemic. So this month is modern day Judaism. I want to specify it's modern day Judaism because it's
Yes.
I'm going to argue, very different than ancient Judaism.
Well, it's
And
it's first century Judaism to present.
sure, be a good way to categorize it. And so
Essentially rabbinic Judaism.
yeah. So last week was, um, last week we did reaction, so it was more of an apologetic where we let them make the argument and we respond. This week is more of a, as Caleb said, it's gonna be polemic, but it's also gonna play a bit apologetic. It's gonna be a little bit of both. Next week is be more apologetic where we're responding to a specific video, and then the week after will be a polemic, and then the week after that will be our final reactionary, and then we'll go into the next month with a different focus. And so, if you have any focuses you want us to do, for those of you who are watching it, that's either live or later, please let us know, and we will take that into consideration. Maybe it's returning to Islam because it's always fun to pick on them. Maybe it will be to
material.
go somewhere else. See, comments
Lots of
are already
material.
flying. Comments are already flying in. Sure, buddy. I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
some of your stuff. It's not
Coming
quite
coming
accurate.
next coming next week, and I actually left a comment under his post directly to us. I was like, I just watched the video. It's not going to be pretty. Oh my God, we're going to talk a lot about Zechariah
Hold
today.
on. Daniel chapter 6 is pretty rabbinic. Well, yeah, rabbinics are based on the text, but doesn't mean they're correct. So the question is, what's the most accurate representation of the text? Daniel prays 3 times a day, facing Jerusalem. Okay, that's not even
And so
Orthodox
if
Jews.
hang on. if I prayed 3 times a day facing Jerusalem, would that make me a true follower of the scriptures? We're not going to get into a debate today. That's not what today is centered on. I will just say, so the next comment here, I'll put it up. We're going to talk a lot about Zechariah today, my friend. And it's not going to be quite how you want it to go, I don't think. But yeah.
While you're doing, I'm gonna pull up my logos so I have my
Yeah.
Hebrew in
Yeah,
front of me.
we're not going to do like a ton of comment engagement, I don't think, because this is mostly just going to be pouring through some texts, looking at some stuff.
Sure. I think the what we should do for this, and especially when I have my project, maybe you and I have a little bit of a conversation,
Yeah,
but it's
no,
more
no,
not how that works.
no.
But be more conversational, but also us presenting the information, and then if there's time later for back and forth, there can be, but it'll primarily be presented by the person who did the work, and then the other person will get time to kind of just like ask questions and flesh it out. Kind of like our podcast a little bit. And then, but this at the end there'll be time maybe if we're done before 9:30 for some commentary. So I'm just gonna get my text up just so I can follow along with you. So I'll just let you run point for this, unless you need to pull something else up specifically.
Yeah, no, no. I was
All
curious
right.
about
Well, I
this statement. Sorry, I was just really curious about the statement. This is really like the last comment engagement we're going to do because we got stuff to get
sure.
to. But I was very curious about this statement. I understand the whole uh, religion by works aspect of Judaism, and I get that, right? So it's somewhat similar, but not quite, to faith by works in a weird way. The problem is you're always going to fall short, and ergo your works really contribute nothing. So that's just talking about the fasting and how that's a time of celebration, which, I mean, more power to you. I don't really care.
Yeah. There's
Right.
good
Because,
reasons to religiously fast.
yeah, and because again, if I were to practice all the things of Judaism,
Sure.
sans the worship of modern Judaism, I should say, of rabbinic Judaism, sans the worship of there it is. Nice true Scotsman fallacy, my guy. That's a nice true Scotsman fallacy. And somewhat of an appeal to authority. But that's neither here nor there. Because
Double
I imagine you
fallacy.
yourself. I was going to say you. I imagine you yourself are a rabbinic Jew, based on your defense of rabbinic Jews. So
I've read
yeah,
it before. I
I had to read it in preparation for this polemical stream. So, anyways,
anyways.
that's enough comment engagement.
Enough comment
But
engagement.
if
Whoa,
I was
engaging.
going to say, if I were to do all the things that rabbinic Jews do, sans the recognition of the God of Israel, I still would not be a Jew.
I'll do this last one. Don't really need to ask our pastors. You can read it for yourself and check the Hebrew and check scholarship.
Yeah, I know. I broke out this beautiful boy.
Ah, you're interlinear.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna close off my
Because
comments for now, just because
say it's gonna
comment
be,
engagement will be on a pause for us. You guys can, of course,
yeah,
leave comments
it's
and
gonna
engage with each
be.
other, but we will be on a pause until post presentation.
You know that meme of Mickey Mouse where it's a special tool we'll use later?
It's a mouse tool.
That actually wasn't that bad. I'll give you credit. That was a decent.
Mickey
That was a
Mouse.
decent. That was a decent Mickey.
I can do a better laugh than I can.
Ha ha.
Yeah. Then again,
I
that's
feel
not.
like everybody has a pretty good Mickey.
I know that's not a hard one to do.
No. Oh, where is we? There he is. Okay.
Yes, because I read Hebrew.
All right. Enough comments.
I'm sorry.
So, Judaism, Juden, if you were German, Juden. Complicated history there. We're going to kick this bad boy off with Zechariah 3. So, see, I told you we were going to be looking at Zechariah. We're going to be doing a lot of Zechariah today. Zechariah, specifically 3 to 12 in my mind, but I mean, generally the whole book is very messianic. It's very much in the line of. That's what I want to look for, I guess, here. I guess it's very much a product of its time in this looking forward to rescue and salvation. Zechariah is writing around the time of Ezra. So there has been deliverance from Babylon, but a lot of Jews are still stuck in Babylon. There is still this sense of being scattered and chaos and destruction. Right? And they're only rebuilding the temple. They're only rebuilding the temple like now, right? Or they've just rebuilt it by the time Zechariah is writing. So there's still a lot of like emotional pain underlying it all. So you'll see a lot of like very hopeful language in the passages that we are going to go over. I kind of skipped over some of the judgment passages because they're more so referring to future events. They're still important, but for the sake of time and brevity, we have to keep chugging along here. Otherwise, this stream would be about 3 years long.
That's my problem when we do mine, because spoiler alert, we're doing 2 Powers of Heaven, and cramming that down to an hour and a half is going to be a joyful time.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. I am trying to move along as much as possible here. So we're going to good grief, dude. We are going to keep moving forward. We're going to start in Zechariah 3. That's where I was going.
Zechariah.
So, we are actually going to go through the entirety of Zechariah 3.
Nice.
Which is only 10 verses. But, Josh, you have the Hebrew side by side if you want to kind of be the Ebionites don't have a fair share, my guy. They were not an actual Christian sect, so.
Are we seriously
They were
getting Ebionites again?
Yeah. They were heretics. I don't know why you can't seem... That would be like calling the Gnostics Christians. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm pulling up my English translation of the Tanakh.
Yeah, I'm engaging with the comments while I'm waiting on you, and they didn't need the blood of Jesus to be righteous. You realize Jesus says the exact kind of thing of like, you know, if I hadn't come, they wouldn't be convicted of their sins, but now that I have, they are condemned. Right? So it's kind of that's... I'm glad you have a question here, I suppose, that was and the 2 powers... there you go. The 2 powers in heaven Jews were heretics. Cool story. So, we'll talk about that. Josh will do that.
Just a quick aside, even scholars like Alan Siegel, who is a Jew, noted that Jews all the way up until the end of the 1st century believed in the 2 powers of heaven. It was perfectly fine. And it was after the 1st century they rejected it as heresy.
What happened in the 1st century?
Oh, I don't know. But he, as a Jew who rejects the 2 powers of heaven, even states that this was a very agreed upon thing. So, anyways, no more comment. Reading. We're going straight to here. I got...
My guy, hang on. My guy, I literally just said, Jesus said, if I had not come. Okay, great. And you called the Jews who accept 2 powers of heaven heretics. So, from our perspective, the Ebionites are like our 2 powers of heaven Jews. So it's not... They're not Jews who believed in Jesus because they denied Jesus' divinity, which is clearly stated.
Anyways.
Anyhoozle. Yes.
So I have my interlinear ready just so I can follow along with you.
No, I don't. Hang on. No. Actually, I'm going to put this one up. You must believe the Ebionites because they were Jews? No. I don't know where you got that idea from.
All right. Unless this guy's gonna do something that is historically accurate, I'm going to say no more. Anyway, so I have a copy of my Tanakh. I have a 1985 edition pulled up for right now because it was the one I could get my hands on. Just so they can say, "Hey, you're not reading the right one." It's like, no, I'm reading the right one.
Hang on.
And then my interlinear ready for my Holman.
I can see that you lied about Deuteronomy 13. Yeah, we haven't forgotten that, bud.
Huh?
All right. Anyways. Oh,
Huh?
and regarding the Leviticus passage, again, see Jesus' comment that if I had not come, they would not be condemned. But I have come, and therefore they are condemned. Yes, some scholar was Jewish to show that he's not a Christian just making up Jewish theology.
Right. My point with this was that a Jew recognizes this is part of Jewish history. It was not me saying really anything more than that. It was saying that a Jew recognizes this is part of Jewish history, a large portion of Jewish history.
Just like if we had a claim that we were fighting that a Christian then said this is part of Christian history, we would have to contend with that claim. That's the point there.
Yeah.
Not that we accept all information from Jews.
We'll put a pause
Anyways,
there. I see the next comment. We'll put a pause there. If you
I
want to
know I could
return to
have
that,
so
you
much
can.
fun with it, but that's not the point of this stream.
If you want to return to that at the end of your presentation, we can. So, what was it? Yeshudi Israel. I
Yes,
would
we will be
say.
responding to your video next Thursday, Lord willing.
So I would say, I mean, you can keep comment firing away. It's great for the algorithm, but I would honestly just put a pause because we're not going to be responding to these for the time being, because then it
Yeah.
just won't get to Caleb's point.
Yeah.
So I'm closing my comments tab. Sorry, anyone else who jumps in, such as Chaos, if you comment.
I'll have mine open, so if somebody else comments something, I'll put it up.
But anyways, go for it, Caleb. I'm just following along with you.
Sure. Can you put up the
Oh, you want me
the
to?
whole reason why I was reading comments again was because I was waiting.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you want me to do that.
Yeah, no, that was the only reason I started responding to comments, is I was just sitting waiting.
Yeah. What do you want me to pull up? The passage just in English?
Zechariah
Or
3, Zechariah 3, and then
just
yeah.
doesn't matter.
No, we won't need the Hebrew until we hit Hosea.
Okay. Sorry, I completely misunderstood.
Now you good, man.
Would you rather I had us? Do you care about translation for English purposes, or do you want me to have the Tanakh from 85 open?
You can have the Tanakh from 85. That would
Okay.
probably be best.
Sorry, that was completely I completely misunderstood.
Nah, you're good, man. You are a good home skillet.
All right, all 10 of your verses should be in this on this page right now.
Okay.
I can zoom in if you want me to, though.
I mean, other people can probably see it. I'm blind, so that's
How's
not going
that
to do
for
anything
you?
good
You
for
need
me.
more?
I can see that, but I'm probably just going to read it from my own screen, which is already zoomed in.
Well, fine. Turd. Anyways,
Then
sorry.
he showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord with Satan standing at his right side to accuse him. The Lord said to Satan, "The Lord rebuke you, Satan. May the Lord who has chosen Jerusalem rebuke you. Isn't this man a burning stick snatched from the fire?" So I won't step on your toes too much, Josh. I will just say, the Lord said to the Lord, or the Lord said, "The Lord rebuke you." Kind of weird to talk in the third person like that, unless, you're more than one person. That's neither here nor there. I won't step on your toes too much. Verse 3 through 7. Now Joshua was dressed with filthy clothes as he stood before the angel. So the angel of the Lord spoke to those standing before him. "Take off his filthy clothes." Then he said to him, "See, I have removed your guilt from you, and I will clothe you with splendid robes." Then I said, "Let them put a clean turban on his head." So a clean turban was placed on his head, and they clothed him in garments while the angel of the Lord was standing nearby. Then the angel of the Lord charged Joshua, "This is what the Lord of hosts says. If you walk in my ways and keep my instructions, you will both rule my house and take care of my courts. I will also grant you access among these who are standing here." So, verses 3 through 7. I read that like a long time ago, and I immediately went, "Oh, that's messianic." Like this was probably maybe 4, maybe 5 years ago, and I read that and I was like, "Oh, well, that's undoubtedly the Messiah." Right, and so yes, Joshua.
If I may, just real quick, I know, I think based on the video we're doing next week, and I'll explain this next week too. Just to throw this in there, so the Hebrew and Greek word for Messiah both refer in general to its translation, referring to an anointed one. So a king figure of sorts. So David and Saul were both called anointed ones. They're both called messiahs of some sort. So I just want to throw that out there because we have to have that clarification for next week's video as well, when looking at passages in refutation to Jesus as Messiah. Because the question is going to be, are we talking about a Messiah as just a general king or the king who is coming, of which the Old Testament also prophesies of like a very specific kingly figure that is coming that will reign forever, as opposed to upon David's throne. And so that's an important little distinction to throw in there, because when we throw messianic around, I know you're not doing this, but some people, when they throw it around, it gets kind of mixed up in conversation and kind of gets lost in the conversation between uh, Christians and non-Christians over what we mean by messianic. And we're talking about, I think people kind of figured out when we refer to passages and there's this term of Messiah, we're like, okay, what does that really mean? And so I just want to throw that caveat in there.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I am just referring to the general broader sense of a passage which refereth to the Messiah.
Right. No, I know
Um,
you're doing that. I'm just throwing that in there because we're going to have to do this next week
yeah.
too with the
Yeah.
refutations.
So yeah. So I found I think it's verse 5. No, verse 7 actually. Very interesting that he says, "You will both rule my house and take care of my courts." Josh, what is God's house?
In most cases, you tend to find it as the temple,
Ah, and
tabernacle.
who rules over the temple?
Uh, Yahweh would be.
Oh, interesting. But Yahweh says to Joshua here that he will rule. Interesting. Hold on to that thought.
Yeah, since the tabernacle and temple is a microcosm of the courtroom or the throne room.
Exactly. Exactly. So I also found it interesting here how we have that he's wearing filthy garments, and that it says, "See, I have removed your guilt from you." Right, and so people would be like, "Well, how can that be? The Messiah, is supposed to be sinless. God made him who knew no sin to become sin." Right, so here we have the idea of the two messiahs. We're going to see that a lot throughout Zechariah 3 and generally throughout the book of Zechariah. You're going to see one suffering Messiah, one glorified Messiah. And right here we have a picture of the suffering Messiah, right? Messiah ben Joseph. Now, the suffering Messiah is described in a way that is sometimes shameful and sometimes mournful. Here we have somewhat of a shameful look at him, right? Where he's covered in filthy rags, he's humbled, almost humiliated, right? I mean, to be before the presence of God, being accused by Satan, to then be covered in just filthy rags, right? As it says, the filthy garments, right there in the Tanakh. It's a very like humbling thing. But then what happens? His rags are removed and he is glorified, right? He is placed with glorified clothing. Right, and it even says placed a pure diadem on his head and clothed him in priestly garments, as the angel of the Lord stood by. Right, so, exactly. We have a very clear picture of a Messiah who has suffered but is glorified. So if we keep moving forward a little bit here, we get the victorious Messiah, Messiah ben David. It says, "Listen, Joshua, the high priest, you and your colleagues before you, indeed these men are a sign that I am about to bring my servant, the branch. Notice the stone that I have set before Joshua. On that one stone are 7 eyes. I will engrave an inscription on it. This is the declaration of the Lord of hosts, and I will take away the guilt of this land in a single day. On that D, on that D, on that D, on that day, each of you will invite his neighbor to sit under his vine and fig tree. This is the declaration of the Lord of hosts." So I found the name The Branch very interesting because that's straight up Isaiah 11. Like that's straight up like almost verbatim Isaiah 11:1. Right? That there out of the roots of Jesse will come a branch and he will branch out into the nations. Right? So already we kind of have this picture forming of this victorious Messiah. Right? So he is this promised figure from Isaiah 11. He is going to be this king like David, right? In the same line as David. He is going, but his empire is going to spread even further, right? His kingdom will be into all the nations. And God says, you know, once this has I lost my train of thought there. Once this has taken place, that's what I want. I couldn't think of the word taken, dude. I am cooking right now. Once this has taken place, then I will usher in the branch, right? Once these filthy rags have been removed and there's a glorified Messiah, I will send in the victorious Messiah. Right? So we have an if this, then this. Right? So we need an order of events here. So first, Messiah ben Joseph, then Messiah ben David. First the humiliated, then the victorious. I really want to respond to that comment, but I am not going to.
Save it for the end.
I know, but it's so easy to just cook that comment right now.
You have 30 seconds.
Huh?
You have 30 seconds.
He is king over Israel because he is God. God is king over Israel. Jesus is God. Ergo, he is king over Israel. He is ruling as king right now.
If you want to
Anyways,
give,
moving on.
if you want to give a more fleshed out one later, you can. But there's your 30-second one.
Thank you. Okay, so it's tough because like I'm seeing new comments pop in, and I'm always like, "Oh, what did somebody say?" Oh, it's still that guy. He's just ranting. All right.
Yeah, no, I remember he and I had our back and forth about Hebrews, and it just got to a point where I quoted scholars. I even stopped answering myself. I just quoted people, and he completely ignored anything I quoted.
Yeah.
We had a good time Tuesday, though. But anyways,
Oh, good.
he and I got along relatively fine.
Good, good, good. Glad to hear that. So it's just me that's the problem you're saying.
I think because I just immediately put in the case of we're not doing this debating thing. If you try, you will be booted.
Yeah. That's a really nice ad hoc attack, dude.
Fallacy number 4. Probably more. I haven't read the comments.
I scanned quick, saw that one, and I was like, "Oh, dude, hang on."
Anyways, Zechariah.
Wait, hang on. Sorry, was that in response to me calling Jesus king because he's God?
Probably. Wait,
That's a
hold on.
new level, man.
Okay.
That's
he
not
put
really
vice versa.
circular reasoning? Question mark? Whatever.
Anyways, back to the project.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much where I got for Zechariah 3. Any thoughts, Joshua?
Um, Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by the numbers just keep popping up. Off the top of my head, nothing at the moment. Kind of just enjoying the ride.
Alrighty, well. So, yeah, to review, we have, firstly, two persons, just saying. And then we have a clear messianic picture. We have two messiahs present. We have Messiah ben Joseph, Messiah ben David. The Messiah must be God because Messiah ben Joseph is told that you are going to rule over God's house. Only God can do that.
Oh, sorry. Little footnote here from the Tanakh.
Sure.
Um, they specify that you can't see my screen for. I'm not sure why. I'm clicking on it. But the future of Kings David line is referring to chapter 6:12, Jeremiah 23:5 through 6, 33:15, 16, and Isaiah. Guess what? Isaiah 11:1 is one of his references
Weird.
in his footnote.
Fascinating. Interesting. Weird, isn't it? Anyway,
Here it is. There shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his roots shall bear fruit.
so
And this is not even a Christian translation.
that is not what we mean by Messiah ben Joseph, dude. That is not what we mean.
Anyways, so that was Zechariah 3, looking at how you're seeing that it has two figures, one that is suffering and one is viewed kind of lowly and with um, almost looking down upon, and if I'm phrasing that correctly, based on your wording, and then one that is like this triumphant, keenly figure.
Right.
But they're almost described as if they're two different ones.
Right. Don't get ahead of my notes. Bad Joshua.
I'm sorry.
Alrighty. So, we got that. We're moving on. Zechariah 4.
Oh,
And we're only going to do two verses here. It's verses 6 and verse 7. Which says, Josh, do you want to read this one? I've been reading the whole time.
Sure. Then let me move my whole thing. Then he explained to me as follows: This is the word of the Lord to Zerubbabel, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, said the Lord of hosts. Wherever you are, O great mountain, in the path of Zerubbabel, turn into level ground, for he shall produce that excellent stone. It shall be greeted with shouts of beautiful, beautiful.
Alrighty. So, what do we get from that? Not by strength or by might, but by the Spirit of the Lord. What kind of victory is this going to be then, Josh? Of the Messiah?
Sorry.
Is this establishing victory through force?
Nope.
No. Interesting. What kind of victory is he establishing, Josh?
Let's see. Well, let's see. It's not by might nor by power, but by the Spirit or by his Ruach. And so it would be by God's presence. Just even by his mere presence. O great mountain, the path of Zerubbabel. It's almost like a peaceful, if you will, conquering.
Interesting. Interesting.
It's just merely is the Spirit, the Ruach is the thing. It's his Ruach, of which is the thing that's doing the victory.
Exactly.
It's his breath, his presence.
It's a breath. It's a spiritual, right? Almost in a way, it's a spiritual victory, right? It's not like a physical establishment.
It's the very thing that he breathes into Adam is the thing that will be the vessel of which victory is brought.
So now tack that onto your bulletin board, right, with the others. That's all we were really in Zechariah 4. That's some English right there. We are going to skip Zechariah 5, just because, again, sake of time. I would love to walk through it more, but we are already 40 minutes in, and I want to be done tonight. So we're going to go right to 6.
That didn't work.
Proud of you, buddy.
There
You're
we
doing
go.
God's work out there.
Woohoo!
All right. And we're going to be looking at verses 9 through 15. The word of the Lord came to me. Take an offering from the exiles, from Heldai, from Tobiah, and from Jediah, who have arrived from Babylon, and go that same day to the house of Josiah, son of Zephaniah. Take silver and gold, make crowns, and place them on the head of Joshua, son of Jehozadak, the high priest. You are to tell him, this is what the Lord of hosts says. Here is a man whose name is Branch. He will branch out from his place and build the Lord's temple. Yes, he will build the Lord's temple. He will be clothed in splendor and will sit on his throne and rule. There will also be a priest on his throne. There will be peaceful counsel between the two of them. The crown will reside in the Lord's temple as a memorial to Heldai, Tobiah, Jediah, and Hen, son of Zephaniah. People who are far off will come and build the Lord's temple, and you will know that the Lord of hosts has sent me to you. This will happen when you fully obey the Lord your God. So, Josh, what does that sound like?
So it's see, take silver and gold, make crowns. So we're building up royalty. Place one on the head of the high priest, Joshua.
Right. I was going to say the high priest, Joshua.
Being crowned king. Or being
Interesting.
Being crowned with a crown.
The same. Hang on, my guy. Sorry, that was just really funny. That was just really funny and really stupid. Jesus is the temple. We've gone over this before. We're not going to go over it again. So.
What you got here is a high priest who's being crowned. Of which the fun part is that you see parts in the Old Testament where there's like 3 major what's one looking for? Offices, I guess you could say, of priest, prophet, and king. And most of the time, people
How interesting.
People can only cover 2, maybe 3, but they tend to fail at the 3. But here you're starting to get the priest is being crowned, so you're getting 2 of those offices. And now the question is this figure also going to be prophet?
Mm-hmm. So remember, this is the same figure that's crowned and told that he's going to rule over God's house. Right? He is going to fill the office of God. No, he's not the goat. He's the lamb, as you say.
Oh, I didn't realize you were reading a comment.
Yeah, no.
I thought we were done with comments, Caleb.
I know, but it just this is just sad. It's sad. It's the ramblings of a madman, and it's sad. All right. Somebody take the comment section away from me. It's too much fun. It's too
Just
funny.
press X.
I know, but it's too funny.
Press X.
But comedy.
You can do comedy at the end and be like, oh, why are all these comments here?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no patience for the
For the essay.
inane nonsense that's being spewed right now.
Then click on the X.
Anyway, so yes, right. We get that. We get those 3 offices. We also get, Joshua the high priest. In a way, he's going to rule alongside the branch, right? So both the high priest and the branch here are both mentioned as rulers, right? So the branch is going to be the one who builds the temple, and he will build the temple. He will be clothed in splendor and will sit on his throne and rule, right? And we get already Joshua ruling in Zechariah 3. You get the branch ruling here in Zechariah 6. Both messiahs are going to be rulers. Now, it seems a lot more so that Messiah ben David is already coming in a glorified state. right? He's not suffering like Joseph did. He is not going through trials or tribulations. He's not wearing any filthy garments, right? He's just immediately, boom, he is clothed in glory. And he is come and he is sitting and he is ruling. Right? So you have the two messiahs. One has to suffer, the other one comes already in victory and comes and delivers victory. And it even makes mention of the stone again, right? The stone from Zechariah 3 with jewels. Now, there is a sense in which this immediate context is the stone refers to Zerubbabel, right? But Zerubbabel is also a messianic figure, right? He's portraying what the Messiah will do, right? So the Messiah will build the temple, and he will rule over it, right? Which is a very divine thing to do, by the way. Like, I just got to throw that out there. The stone with the jewels from Zechariah 3 is the stone that's being used to build the temple. Right? So keep that in mind, right? All of these passages are connected. They all have the same theme running through them. We have two messiahs, one to suffer, one to rule. Well, both to rule. One to suffer, one to bring victory. Both will rule. Both will come and establish an eternal temple, a temple that does not perish, a glorified temple. We will get there. Any thoughts before we move on to the next passage in Zechariah?
No, man. Keep cooking.
Okay.
Put on a chef's
So
hat.
Zechariah, what's up?
Put on a chef's hat.
Yeah, I'll come up with a different bit than Avery's. I don't want to just yoink that from him.
Oh. Where to next?
Zechariah 9. Well, I'm going to reference Zechariah 8, but I don't think we need to read it.
Okay.
I think I can just do it in a passing reference. So, Zechariah 9 through 17 is what I put in my notes.
I got you. Rejoice greatly, fair Zion. Raise a shout, fair Jerusalem. Lo, your king is coming to you. He is victorious, triumphant, yet humble, riding on an ass, on a donkey foaled by a she-ass. He shall banish chariots from Ephraim and horses from Jerusalem. The warrior's bow shall be banished. He shall call on the nations to surrender, and his rule shall extend from sea to sea and from ocean to land's end. You, for your part, have released your prisoners from the dry pit for the sake of the blood of your covenant, saying, Return to Bizaron, your prisoners of hope. In return, I announce this day I will pay you double, for I have drawn Judah taut and applied my hand to Ephraim as to a bow. And I will arouse your sons, O Zion, against your sons, O Yavan, and make you like a warrior's sword. Where's I going to again?
Hang on.
Sorry.
To 17, but hang on.
I can keep going.
Because we are having now an accusation levied against us that we are not being honest.
What?
So
I don't even see this comment.
He said Zechariah 8 destroys Christianity, and that's why it's never quoted in the false NT, but sure, skip over it. So, Zechariah 8, 19 to 23. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. The Lord of Hosts says the Lord of Hosts says the fast of the 4th month, the fast of the 5th, the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th will become times of joy, gladness, and cheerful festivals for the house of Judah. Therefore, love, truth, and peace. The Lord of Hosts says this, people will yet come, the residents of many cities. The residents of one city will go to another, saying, let us go at once, plead for the Lord's favor, to seek the Lord of Hosts. I am also going. Many peoples and strong nations will come to seek the Lord of Hosts in Jerusalem to plead for the Lord's favor. The Lord of Hosts says this, in those days, 10 men from nations of every language will grab the robe of a Jewish man tightly, urging, let us go with you, for we have heard God is with you. Boy, that sounds so much like the exact events of the New Testament. Right, the Ethiopian eunuch, what does he do with Philip in the book of Acts? What does he do?
He goes through the scriptures with him.
Oh, he goes to Jerusalem, learns of the scriptures, learns that Christ is the Messiah, sees it in the scriptures for himself, and becomes a Christian. You want to talk about the feasts? Okay. Or the fasts rather? What is significant to you about the fasts? What do you find to be significant about the fasts? Because see, you threw out an accusation now. Now you're going to have to back it up. So let's see how the fasts destroy Christianity, quote unquote. Because the remaining three verses are exactly what happens in the New Testament.
I'm pulling up a verse. Yes, no.
Okay, see, we're just dodging the question. You're just dodging the question.
All right, I'm just going to interject right here, purely not dealing with the content itself. Yeshuda Yisrael, I mean this in full offense. Having been in discussion with you on our last stream, sorry, 2 streams ago, this stream, and the comment sections, when a point is brought up that you can't answer, you ignore it. I've quoted multiple scholars to you, and you ignored every single one of my points, and then you misquote me back to me. You mischaracterize. That's why my last comment to you in that one stream was, you have revealed your actual character, and you're doing the same thing right now. Okay, so unless you're going to actually, one, follow with the actual content of the stream, and two, represent them correctly, not build straw men, not dodge questions, you will no longer be catered to in terms of discussion. That's the last thing we'll be saying to you until next stream. So unless you're going to actually answer Caleb's question, you're done, or I will block you.
And to finally, I guess since he's not going to answer the question,
No.
yes, I'm aware those fasts were instituted during the Babylonian exile. They were for purposes of remembrance. However, when the people returned, they did not need the fasts anymore because they were times of celebration. They were times of remembrance from the sieges against Jerusalem. Since apparently you could not answer this question of why they're still significant to you personally, as acts of remembrance. They were acts of remembrance. But 20 to 23 of the siege, did I not just say that? Good grief, man.
Yeshuda, again, unless you can actually answer questions and follow with the topic of the stream, I
No,
will.
because guess what? We have now reached the time of fulfillment of the celebration. Right? We've reached what 20 and 23, 20 through 23 talk about.
All right, Yeshuda, you are derailing the stream. I understand is your point, your purpose right here. So you will be ignored.
Yes, but the
And if you
temple is
continue to
built. Hang
spam,
on. Hang on, Josh. Hang on. This is the last thing I'm going to say. The temple is restored in the person of Jesus Christ. So we don't need to mourn. Moving on.
why don't you
I just
move
want
on?
to.
I'm
I
gonna
know.
limit.
I know. But we got an accusation thrown at us that we were being intentionally dishonest. No, no, we aren't. It's just not relevant to the topic at hand. It's not a topic that we are discussing. If you want to talk about Jesus being the temple, maybe at some point in a future stream we can do that, or a future video. But for now, don't throw out accusations of dishonesty, especially not how you introduced yourself to us, which was actually an openly lying about Deuteronomy 13. Right?
Yep.
Like, we have the receipts for that. You openly lied about that, saying that Deuteronomy 13 said that if a prophet claimed to be God, they were a false prophet. It never
We
said
called you
that.
out on it, and you never responded to that. You ignored that point entirely.
So do not throw out accusations of dishonesty against us. That's disgusting. And you're just ranting, honestly. So I think,
All right, Caleb, you carry on. I'm gonna limit Yoshida's ability to comment anymore.
thank you. Because he's not actually interacting with us. He's just ranting and
No, he's here to
screaming.
derail you because he can't actually refute your arguments.
Yeah. So Zechariah 9.
If
Uh,
I don't respond, that's just because.
yeah, no, I'm just going to actually read through the passage. Sorry to all the rest of you who are watching this. This is not, um, this is not how we wanted this to go. We welcome open challenge and debate, but if you're just going to accuse us of dishonesty after you yourself were dishonest, we don't have patience or time for that. We have better things to do. So, Zechariah 9, 9 through 17. Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion. Shout in triumph, daughter Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and victorious, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, on the foal of a donkey. Excuse me, on the foal of a donkey. I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the horse from Jerusalem. The bow of war will be removed, and he will proclaim peace to the nations. His dominion will extend from sea to sea, from the Euphrates River as to the ends of the earth. As for you, because of the blood of your covenant, I will release your prisoners from the waterless cistern. Return to a stronghold, you prisoners who have hope. Today I declare that I will double you. I will restore double to you. For I will bend Judah as my bow. I will fill that bow with Ephraim. I will rouse your sons Zion against your sons Greece. I will make you like a warrior's sword. Then the Lord will appear over them. His arrow will fly like lightning. The Lord God will sound the trumpet and advance with the southern storms. The Lord of hosts will defend them. They will consume and conquer with sling stones. They will drink and be rowdy as if with wine. They will be as full as the sprinkling basin, like those at the corners of the altar. The Lord their God will save them on that day as the flock of his people, for they are like jewels in a crown sparkling over his land. How lovely and beautiful they will be. Grain will make the young men flourish, and new wine the young women. So, actually, sorry, real quick. We stream to several different platforms, dude. It's not all about you. We have other viewers on other platforms. Thank you. So, what do we glean from that?
Hold on. I just want to say something. I feel like my elementary school teacher just kicked in. There was a timeout button. My elementary school teacher kicked in when I saw that timeout button. It's like timeout, except I don't say it's gay like that.
Well, you probably do. Also,
No,
there
I
are
usually
three people watching on YouTube, so like, even if you were right, you're wrong. Anyway, so what do we gain from Zechariah 9? You're still in Zechariah 8.
Sorry, I was getting that all set up.
You're good. What do we glean there? So there is a coming king who will be humble. Right? Because, generally when a king arrives, he arrives with pomp and circumstance, or at the very least with his guard, in his chariot, with his horses. This king arrives on a donkey. Right? So we're kind of... Oh, I was like, what is that moving? It's the light off of my watch reflecting. Like I just saw something moving out of the corner. I was like, what is that moving? Uh, so there's a coming king who is humble. Right? So we're kind of returning to that theme of a humble king that we found in Zechariah 3.
It brought me back to chapter 1. I just realized that.
Huh?
It brought me back to chapter 1.
So he's not coming to make war. Right? Because it talks about how, he's breaking the bow. Right? He's breaking the bow, The bow of war will be removed. He will proclaim peace to the nations. But then the very next sentence is really interesting. That his dominion will be established.
Hmm.
Right? And it will extend from sea to sea, from the Euphrates River to the end of the earth. But he doesn't come in conquest. Or he doesn't come, I should say, in war. He comes in peace, extends peace, and yet his kingdom extends to the nations. It conquers the nations. Josh, is there a particular ideology, maybe a world religion, that has spread across the globe and not done so through violent conquest?
Proof.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
again, just
the
keep.
interesting, as you're saying that, the interesting thing is you see, of course, not every religion, but like Islam was claiming that like that, and it's not an Islam polemic, but Islam, kind of claiming that it was the continuation or the true fulfillment of the Old and New Testament, and then you have it is in this very conquesty in the violent aspect, but Jesus comes to say that he didn't come to he came with a sword, but he didn't come like violently with the sword. Or he mentions that if his kingdom was of this world, then he would have his people would fight. That would be if it was about conquering Rome, then they would have done so. But that wasn't the point. And he came with a very peaceful thing, which was a complete 180 view of how kings took up reign. Like there's supposed to be this violent act, but Christ's violent act was actually him dying.
Yeah. No, it's as I think I texted you today earlier. I was like, dude, God is so cool. We're getting to my God is so cool moment, but
Okay.
uh anyway, so yes. What else do we get here? So yeah, just kind of that theme of like spiritual conquest, right? Like it's not he's not coming with war and violence, but rather the nation will become his bow, right? Judah is his bow, Ephraim his arrow, right? And the people are like a warrior's sword, right? It's not this literal we are going to go and storm the nations and conquer everything and spread by the sword, Islam style. Um, Rather, we are going to come and conquer in peace,
Well,
which
the
is a
other
very
thing,
odd idea.
the interesting thing here too is that it's in peace within the human realm, but in the spiritual heavenly realm, this is a full blown attack. Because for in the Hebrew mindset, they saw these other kings as being a mixture of being the corruption of the kings themselves and corruption of the spiritual beings that were overseeing them. As hence why we see like in Daniel where there's an angel that's prohibited from being able to get to Daniel, and so Michael steps is Michael or Gabriel steps in to relinquish that. But it's talking about like these princes are at battle, but like an angel or in this case a spiritual being is what specifically it's talking about doesn't really have an issue with the human. It can just fly right on by. Um, but like for the spiritual realm, like this is like God like dethroning all these corrupted spiritual beings that are like these false gods or whatever they're trying to like draw attention away from like those who are followers of the devil himself. And so for our realm it's like where's this violent act? For them is like well it's right here. Jesus is coming or this Messiah is coming that will completely destroy our foundations. But then for the humans is like I don't see it yet, and then you see the effects of it as it plays out in those who follow him. Um,
Right. I mean, we
just as
talk
you
a
were
lot
saying
about.
that, it was coming to my head. 'Cause I'm thinking about what the project I'm working on, and it all started like just started tying together in my head as you were piecing. I was like, yep. I know. He meant to be where you're going, but I see where Zechariah is going in general.
Yeah, no, it's we don't talk about spiritual warfare enough, and when I say that, I don't mean like how most people think about spiritual warfare, right? We talk a lot about how
Go
oh
scream
so and
at the
so
demons.
Right, exactly, right. Like so and so manifested a demon as I was talking. It was a real moment of spiritual warfare. It's like, if true, yes, not what it's actually really talking about, though.
Yeah, I like how
Right? There's a lot more to it.
some scholars kind of talk about how like our participation in spiritual warfare is the very act of sharing the gospel. That is a
Yeah.
spiritual warfare because it's dethroning them even further. It's tearing apart their hold on things when the name of Jesus is proclaimed, which is really the act of the Spirit doing all those things. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not really just going to scream at a demon.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what we got for Zechariah 9. We're already over an hour. We are probably about halfway through my notes, so
Go for it.
maybe a little less than. So let's keep moving to Zechariah 10. I think the end will go a little quicker though, because it all really starts tying together.
Sure.
So Zechariah 10, 1 through 6. Go for it, Josh.
Ask the Lord for rain in the season of late rain. It is the Lord who causes storms, and he will provide rainstorms for them, grass in the fields for everyone.
Sorry, hang on. I'm just gonna say that was my God is so cool moment, but we'll find out why later.
Okay.
Keep going.
For the teraphim spoke delusion, the agurs predicted falsely, and the dreamers speak lies and console with illusions. That is why my people have strayed like a flock. They suffer for lack of a shepherd. My anger is roused against the shepherds, and I will punish the he goats. For the Lord of hosts has taken thought in behalf of his flock, the house of Judah. He will make them like a majestic charge in battle. For them shall come cornerstones, from them tent pegs, from them bows of combat, and every captain shall also arise from them. And together they shall be like warriors in battle, tramping in the dirt of the streets. They shall fight for the Lord. They shall fight, for the Lord shall be with them. They shall put horsemen to shame. I will give victory to the horse of Judah and triumph to the house of Joseph. I will restore them, for I have pardoned them, and they shall be as though I have never disowned them. For I, the Lord, am their God, and I will answer their prayers. Was it verse 7 you said?
Nope, that's it. Just to verse 6.
Okay.
Firstly, he goats. See, I didn't actually look at like the interlinear for Zechariah 10. I just kind of ran out of time.
Yeah.
I HCSB translates that as I will punish the leaders. I love I will punish the he goats so much more. That is so funny.
I'm going to clip that he goes from you and make
He
that my sound
goats.
button.
Oh man, that's great, dude. You punish those he goats, Lord. Anyways, so what do we have? What stuck out to you, Josh? I want to know that first.
He goats. Um, no, okay, so I'm curious. I think I have an idea what you're here, but I would rather just hear what your thoughts are when you came across that opening verse. Um, he talks about. I think what's interesting is how he talks about why his people have strayed like a flock. They suffer for a lack of a shepherd. I think that's just really interesting because so much of that language plays into well, a lot of the Old Testament, but also what Jesus talks about in Matthew. I think specifically he mentions a lot about being the shepherd and then like the lost, not even just like the parable of the lost sheep, but just like the people and their following and shepherd language. Let me see. There was something else I think. For the Lord forsaken thought on behalf of his flock. For them shall come cornerstones, from them tent pegs, from them bows of combat, and every captain shall also arise from them, and together they also will be like warriors in battle, tramping the dirt of the streets. They shall fight, for the Lord shall be with them. I think it's interesting. You're getting this whole. They are going to be like this military, and that he is back with them. So we've had all this peace language, and now you have him being the presence that they will have the ability to go and have triumph over the enemies, if you will.
Yeah,
Uh,
no,
that
definitely right. So
his
it's
his conquering initially will be peaceful, but he's going to equip them for the next bit of conquest that they are tasked with.
right. So it is kind of again that theme of like the two different uh comings, right? So you have the coming in victory, which is the coming in conquest, and you have the coming in, I don't want to say shame, but like, the coming in suffering, which
Yeah.
is the coming in peace,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of cool to see them, that continual theme coming throughout the book.
Yeah.
Coming.
I I love this statement right here. For I will redeem them. Um,
Amen.
God doesn't owe someone money, but redeeming involves paying for someone and redeeming in some capacity. That'd be a fun study to do here.
Yeah.
If it, but that's the whole idea of like this ransom and redeeming. That he is the one that's doing the redeeming. That they're not the ones who have to do it. He will be the one that's doing the redeeming. Um, it is such a very beautiful just statement.
Yeah. No,
That's all the
absolutely.
immediate thoughts are coming to me. I don't know
And
if I
and,
missed
and the
what you were
statement
looking
there
at.
for right, and the statement there for I will redeem them. It's the Messiah who redeems the people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Inter- Interesting.
Interessante. Um, that's actually pretty much what I had for Zechariah 10.
Oh, I did. I got
um,
it all.
yeah, no, you and I shared a brain cell on that one.
You. I wanted to leave this one open for you
Which
though, because that was your big texting to me.
we'll come back to it.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So keep
You
that
guys
one
11.
in your mind. Keep that one in your mind. It's going to be very important later. But yeah, so I was actually driving and listening to Zechariah. Um, and I had a long drive today. I had 2 hours in the car to myself.
Zoinks.
Yeah. So I was listening to some theology, and then I switched up. I was like, I'm going to listen to Zechariah, just make sure I'm brushed up and fully ready for the stream. And then I don't know how I didn't catch it. Maybe I just needed to hear it, but I heard that and was like, oh. And that's I
Oh,
think when I text you. I think that's when I text you. God was McCookin.
well, I remember listening to a podcast where one scholar he was saying that he was prepping for a different topic, but he was been listening to Poor Bishop Hooper, which is like this a husband and wife duo, and they did a whole project where they did technically more than 150 because they did each section of Psalm 118, but they did a song for each of the psalms or based on the psalms. So either they're directly quoting it or doing it about it, and they did like all 150 psalms. And when he came to listening to Psalm 83, he was like, "Whoa, I've read the Hebrew for this, but I never caught this." I'm like hearing it though, that the concept of what's there that fits what we're talking about here. And he went on. It was like, he's like, "Yeah, I never thought about it until I heard them saying it," and I was like, "Wait a second."
Yeah. No, it's awesome how you can read a passage of scripture hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Like I cannot tell you how many times I read the Sermon on the Mount. Dude, I still learn things.
I remember that's what happened with our group. They'd be like, "I've read this passage so many times. How have I missed this?" I'm like, sometimes it just seems too familiar, and we just don't slow down. We think we slowed down, but there's that one little thing that we haven't slowed down on, and it just completely unravels everything. Before it's like, whoa, there's so much here. Anyways, I'm guessing Zechariah
Anyways,
11 is where we need to go to next.
you would be guessing wrong.
Dang it. 12?
Next chapter. Yes. I'll let you read it because if I read it, I might get a little bit of chills down my spine, goosebumps. Need to stop for a second.
Oh,
So
you
go
don't need
ahead.
to.
Zechariah 12, 1 through 10. Right? 1 through 10? Yes, 1 through 10.
Okay.
I'm going to stop you probably at every verse.
A pronouncement. A pronouncement. The word of the Lord concerning Israel. The utterance of the Lord who stretched out the skies and made firm the earth and created man's breath within him.
Okay, so verse 1. We've been through a pretty good portion of Zechariah together today. Where have you seen a statement like that? That is the most grandiose opening regarding who got it right. Like that is just setting up. God is right. Like God is just dominant over everything. He created everything. He created the sky itself. He made the earth. and he even made you.
Yeah, that's calling back Genesis 1 and 2. Like straight.
Exactly.
That's like a paraphrase of Genesis 1 and 2 right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's just
Uh,
like this out of nowhere, out of freaking left field haymaker of a, by the way, God is really powerful.
verse
Anyways,
2.
yes, sir.
Behold, I will make Jerusalem a bowl of reeling for the peoples all around. Judah shall be caught up in the siege upon Jerusalem. When all the nations of the earth gather against her, in a day I will make Jerusalem a stone for all the people to lift. All who lift it shall injure themselves.
Endure.
I know.
I yeah. So injuries aside, so verse 1 sets up this big moment from God, right? Where it's, by the way, remember that God is all powerful. Verses 2 to 3. So God is all powerful, right? We're setting up this big thing to happen. Verse 2 to 3 tell you where it's going to happen. Jerusalem and Judah. Right? So we have this building up. Verses 4 through 7, please.
In that day, declares the Lord, I will strike every horse with panic and its rider with madness, but I will watch over the house of Judah while I strike. I just read that twice. No. But I watch over the house of Judah while I strike every horse of the peoples with blindness. And the clans of Judah will say to themselves, the dwellers of Jerusalem are a task set for us by their God, the Lord of hosts. In that day, I will make the clans of Judah like a flaming brazier, coming among sticks, and like a flaming torch among sheaves. They shall devour all the besieging people right and left, and Jerusalem shall continue on its site in Jerusalem. The Lord shall give victory to the tents of Judah first, so that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem may not be too great for Judah.
So, what stuck out to you there, Josh? I actually want to hear your thoughts first.
Oh, that kept tripping on my words.
Okay,
Um,
after that, what was your thought?
so first off, you have the beginning of verse 4 is similar to Exodus with the panic of the writers. This is like Exodus decreation language.
Mm-hmm.
It's variation. And then but I will watch for the house of Judah. And then talks about giving them blindness, so they will lose their sight. So again, that decreation, that cursing, they're removing of the blessing. So that's the first thing that stuck out to me. Um, they shall devour all the besieging peoples right and left, and Jerusalem shall continue on its site in Jerusalem. So you have that they will be victorious language there. And
Mm-hmm.
then it says that the Lord will give victory to the tents of Judah first. So that would be the southern kingdom. So that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem may not be too great for Judah. And so you have a very specific talking about the house of David with regarding its people group.
Yes, and what I kind of like there is that God's like, but first, it's gonna come from Judah,
Mm.
right? It's not gonna start in Jerusalem. The glory, the glory, the victory is first gonna hit Judah. Then it's gonna come for Jerusalem and the house of David, right? So it's building, right? It keeps building. You know, just as you were talking about, especially it's not only just building on this moment, but it's building on all the moments from the past. Too, right? This
Yeah.
there's this event that's coming that it's culminating.
Yeah, they're building up all this description of what's going to be happening positively with Judah, the line of David, and it's using all this language from the text that would know, like, oh, so this is a recreation moment, this is a decreation moment, this is going to be the new, almost like a new Israel type of thing.
Yes, there will be a coming of a sort of new covenant, I guess you could say. Did I ham fist that insufficiently for you?
Yes.
I just saw this. I have no idea what this is in reference to. I don't know when this comment popped up. I don't know what that's in reference to. Um,
This
If you're
seems to
talking
fit well with my
about
understanding. Oh, it's on
the
Twitch.
yes, sir. I don't necessarily. Which, by the way, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here. I don't know if that's the victory or if it's. I'm not sure. Sorry,
Oh,
I was looking at another tab. I missed your comment. I didn't see when it popped up.
dang. Sorry, Limit Break. I just opened Twitch. Didn't realize you sent a whole bunch of comments that didn't come through for us.
Oh dang, dude. Sorry about that.
Um, well, I'll read. Well, we can look at them briefly at the end of Kale's presentation. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. It did not come through Riverside. Obviously, we were not ignoring you intentionally. Sorry about that. Uh, anyways, so that's 4 through 7, 8 through 10. Wait, eight and 9. Excuse me, 8 and 9. We're not hitting 10 yet. Ten's the big boy.
In that day, the Lord will shield the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the feeblest of them shall be in that day like David, and the house of David like a divine being, like an angel of the Lord at their head. In that day, I will all but annihilate all the nations that come up against Jerusalem.
Interesting. And the house of David like a divine being, like the angel of the Lord. Interesting. Josh, why would I be highlighting that part? Think long and hard.
Uh, Sorry. I just saw a limit break. Wow, don't mess with Jerusalem. Wouldn't want to be Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson. Wasn't ready for that.
Oh, that's good. That was funny.
That's another
Oh,
one
that
that
was
didn't make it to
funny.
our chat, but I was just reading Twitch.
Oh man, that's good. That is good. That is freaking funny.
Anyways, you were going on.
Yes. So why would I bring up the angel of the Lord here? Why would I highlight that section specifically?
Because typically the angel of the Lord or Malach Yahweh deals with um, the messenger that comes, but also comes in the status of bearing God's name or having the name of Yahweh in him, or really being just straight up called Yahweh frequently throughout the
As
Torah,
we
especially.
saw as we saw in the beginning of Zechariah 3.
Right.
So interesting. So we have this divine person present here. Right? Like my interlinear has it as the angel of Jehovah. Right? Angel capitalized. I'm curious the Tanakh there doesn't. I find that interesting. Uh, I don't know if that's just a translation choice or
Probably a translation choice.
because I was going to say I'm looking at the Hebrew interlinear here, and this makes the other choice, right? The choice that I had seen most commonly, which is the reference to the divine person being the angel of the Lord.
Because sometimes they sometimes like in other translations too, like it's kind of like when they reference he, sometimes they will focus on the specific word of God, and then anything that's like a add like adding on or an extra word to describe him, they won't necessarily capitalize that because it's not maybe a proper noun or something like that, or it's not his name specifically.
Um, yeah, limit break if that's asking, um, if the Messiah, son of David, is a part of the house of David. Um, yes, but also he is the salvation of the house of David, right? He is the son who brings honor to the house.
Doing so by also being part of it.
Right. So, and then it says it's interesting to me at least that it says the house of David will be like the angel of the Lord.
Yeah.
Like in what sense? Josh, could you please read verse 10?
But I will fill the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem with a spirit of pity and compassion, and they shall lament to me about those who are slain, wailing over them as over a favorite son, and showing bitter grief as over a firstborn.
Interesting. That's interesting. Hang on a second. Because have something very different.
Then this Tanakh.
Yes, sir. Because let's see. Hang on. Can you go back to that one, please? But I will fill the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem with my spirit and compassion, of pity and compassion, and they will lament to me about those who are slain, wailing over them as a favorite son showing. See, I have that very different.
Mm.
The Hebrew there, and as far as I've seen, every English translation has it, and I'll read from the Hebrew here. And I will pour out on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem this spirit of grace and of prayers. And they shall look on me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for an only son, and shall be bitter over him like the brightness over the firstborn. The bitterness over the firstborn, excuse me. Sorry, the print is really small. Look upon me whom they have pierced. I don't know why that Tanakh uses very different language.
I can't pull up the Hebrew for this one. I can pull up
Like,
the Hebrew here, though.
hang on.
Uh, just so everyone can see it. 10. No, 12:10. View. Interlinear.
Yeah, like the Bible Hub
Let's do.
Interlinear has it as "Look upon me whom they have pierced,"
Yeah.
and they will mourn for
Then
him.
I will pour out a spirit of grace and prayer on the house of David and the rest of Jerusalem, and they will look at me whom they pierced.
Yeah.
They will mourn for him. And just for one more for fun's sake, you can go on and comment. I'm going to pull up my just a strictly Hebrew.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's odd
Here we
to
go.
me, I guess. Yep. Go ahead.
But I will pour, and I will. Ugh. I can do this. And but I will pour on the house of David, and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace or favor, pleas for mercy and supplication, and they will look to me, whom they have pierced. They shall mourn, whom over him, as the wailing over. Over him, wailing as an only child, as they will grieve bitterly over him. Someone grieves bitterly over the firstborn.
Yeah. So, interesting choice by the Tanakh there. I don't agree with it, just based on the
Yeah,
Hebrew, based on
this
how
is. Whoops,
everyone else translates it.
wrong button. Yeah. Again, this is also 85, so a lot of changes have happened since then. But
Sure.
and that's
Right. We've
Tanakh.
gotten more
So
accurate records. We've gotten more precise translations. Yeah. But anyways, so that language. Okay, so this is God talking, right? Like we've established that this is very clearly the Lord talking, right? Yahweh is talking. What does he mean that he will be that when he says they will look upon me whom they have pierced? How can God be pierced?
you have to be there in a physical state.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. And why does he change person in the middle of his sentence? They will look upon me whom they have pierced and they will mourn for him.
Playing into that two Yahwehs.
Interesting. Interesting. And now we have talked about the fact that the Messiah, in order to rule over God's house, must be God.
Real quick, two questions from
Oh,
Twitch
Yeah.
that are not pulling up that pertain to what you're talking about.
Okay.
They're not in our chat. They're in the Twitch chat. So the House of David, which you said includes Messiah, son of David, is looking at a pierced entity. Um,
Not just a
yes,
pierced
sir.
entity, a pierced God.
And then it says, right, so if the House of David includes the Messiah, son of David, as you said earlier, then using your translation, does it look like the Messiah would be piercing himself? No, it describes that the ones who are looking at him are the ones who have pierced him.
Yeah.
Or,
They will look
sorry,
upon me whom they have pierced.
yeah,
You
the
are
ones
you're
that are
right.
doing the looking are the ones who have pierced them.
Yes. They will look upon me whom they have pierced. Right. They will look upon me whom they have pierced. Right. Whom is in the subjective. It's being done to. That was the house of David. That includes the Messiah. You said it includes. Yes. And maybe I'm not understanding the question.
Why
Anyways,
don't you keep going, and I'll let you know if anything
yes.
comes in.
Okay. So we know that the Messiah must be God. Oh, okay. These comments are just coming through now. I understand. Okay. So these comments from Twitch are only coming through now.
No, that one just came in.
No, no, no. Like you just read these questions and then they just popped up in Riverside now and I just put them up now. Like
Oh,
those are the questions you read from Twitch.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then I was reading them back and I was like, "Wait, didn't we just answer that? Am I an idiot?" No. Um anyway, so we
So
have a pierced God and a suffering Messiah. And a Messiah, that suffering Messiah is God.
there's one being pierced by the lookers.
Right. So that's the end of our time in Zechariah, I think is the last of my notes. Yes. So we have this weird kind of amalgamation going on. We have two distinct messiahs.
No, so the Messiah figure
No.
is one who is of that lineage, and then he's being pierced by his own people.
All right, like so let's use a crude analogy here. You are of your father's household, right, when you were a child. Let's say your father stabs you. Does that mean you stabbed you just because you are of his household? No, right? You can belong to a house without being part of the actions of said house. Right? Like if your father sells off the family fortune, you did not sell off the family fortune. Make sense? Anyways. So, we have this weird sort of we got two messiahs, one's going to suffer, one's going to be victorious. Both will rule, but one is God who is stabbed or pierced, I should say, who is pierced. Okay. Can we identify at least the Messiah? Can we at least identify him? Let's go to Psalm 2.
Identify a suffering one.
Yes, we can. Let's go to Psalm 2. All right, we're just
Psalm 2.
aiming. We're aiming. Yes, we're aiming to identify either Messiah right now.
Particular verse matter.
Nope, whole thing.
Oh, make me read this jankiness.
I can read it.
My eyes are dying. Go for it.
Why did the nations rebel and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers conspire together against the Lord and his anointed one. Let us tear off their chains and free ourselves from their restraints. That's the quote from the rulers who are conspiring. I love this verse. The one enthroned in heaven laughs. The Lord ridicules them. I text a buddy to this, and I used a little bit stronger language than I'm going to use here. But I said if I were these guys and I was conspiring against God and saying I don't need God, and then I heard him laugh from heaven, I would positively crap myself. Like, I would lose my mind if after to myself I go, I don't need God, and I just hear, I'd be like, oh no. Oh, I have bleeped up. I have royally bleeped up. I just love the one enthroned in heaven laughs. It's like that is one of the greatest sentences of all time. That is so good. Anyways, the one enthroned in heaven laughs, the Lord ridicules them. Then he speaks to them in his anger and terrifies them in his wrath. I have consecrated my king on Zion, my holy mountain. Now that's we talked a lot about that in Zechariah. Right, so we've got some interplay here. I will declare the Lord's decree. He said to me, "You are my son. Today I have become your father. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, and the ends of the earth your possession. You will break them with a rod of iron. You will shatter them like pottery. So now, kings, be wise. Receive instruction, you judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with reverential awe, and rejoice with trembling. Pay homage to the Son, or he will be angry, and you will perish in your rebellion. For his anger may ignite at any moment. All those who take refuge in him are happy." So, we get this picture of the Messiah, right? The anointed one, as it says in verse 2, as the Son of God, in whom there should be fear and awe and respect and pleading for favor. So this, in my mind, at the very least, definitely fits the victorious Messiah.
Sure.
Right? He already has this glory. He is already the Son of God. So we've identified now this victorious Messiah is the Son of God. We have an identity there. So surely, if one is claiming to be the Son of God, he is claiming to be the Messiah. Right? He's claiming a divine office for himself. All right. So thoughts on Psalms 2?
No. I'll let you keep rolling for time's sake.
Okay. That tells me you have a lot of thoughts on Psalm 2. So
Another day.
we have a huh?
Another day.
Another day. So we have a suffering Messiah and a victorious Messiah. Uh, and then it is made clear here in Psalm 2 that this is the glorious Messiah who is the ruler of all things. All things are subject to him. But we need to know something. Right? We need to know something specific. What is the relationship between these messiahs? So we're going to go to Hosea 6.
Your boy.
And now, it is my boy. I love Hosea. Now, keep in mind what we talked about way back when we talked about Zechariah 10, right, which is the rain. Zechariah 10:1. Keep that in mind. Josh, since you have the Hebrew pulled up, I'm actually going to have you not read.
Nice.
Specifically, because I want to make a point here about why it's important to look at the actual languages.
Okay.
So, Hosea 6:1-3. Come, let us return to the Lord, for he has torn us, and he will heal us. He has wounded us, he will bind our wounds up. He will revive us after 2 days, and on the third day he will raise us up. Exclamation point, red flag, so we can live in his presence. Let us strive to know the Lord. His appearance is as sure as the dawn. He will come to us like the rain, like spring showers that water the land. Now, Josh, you have the Hebrew pulled up. There's a word that is in the Hebrew that I didn't say in the English. And it's a word that means everything to us. Let's see, is it where is it? It's in verse 3.
Verse 3. Let us acknowledge, lest we pursue and press on to know Yahweh like the dawn is sure, his rising, and he will come like the showers to us.
Interesting. So the Lexham Hebrew does not have it. I have in my interlinear, which does not actually say who wrote it. But at least I'm sure it does. I'm not going to go searching the copy page for it now. I have... Let me find... Oh, I'm in Zechariah now. Oh, frickin' guy. Hang on. Here are called to defend. We strive for the highest professional standard. As I fumble through the pages trying to get back to Hosea. Okay, and we're back.
Never mind.
What's up?
Never mind.
What'd you say to me?
Never mind.
What were you gonna say?
Doesn't matter. Never mind.
So I have. Then we shall know, we who follow on to know Yahweh, his going forth is established as the dawn, and he shall come to us as the rain, as the latter and former rain to the earth. Now, and it has here the Hebrew words for former and latter. Right, and I think... yeah, and I think I should have actually included verse 4 because it's kind of important. Because he goes on to continue to talk about the early dew. It's verse 3, my guy.
Sorry, I was pulling up another Hebrew.
No, you're good. But regardless, even if it doesn't have the former and the latter, the idea is still present there.
Right.
Right. He will come to us like the rain, like the spring showers. Right. So there's two references there to rain. Why not just have one? I'm curious as to your answer to this question, actually, Josh. Why not just have one reference to rain?
It's honestly one where I'm gonna have to say I'm not totally certain.
Let me cook, then, brother.
Not a passage I've been in a minute.
Then let me cook, brother. So, what is Hosea comparing the rains to?
His coming.
His coming, the coming of God, right? Who we have established, the Messiah is God, and he will be coming, right? So we can, and given that, this is the book of the 12, right? A lot of people don't know that the minor prophets, as we call them, were all one book.
Yeah, they were one scroll.
Yeah. So this is all a part of one thing, right? So the readers would have read starting here at Hosea, going all the way to Malachi, would have read that all as one. And so they would have read this and understood that, okay, we are still talking about the same figure, right? The same coming in Zechariah, right? They didn't have that breakup like we do. They would have just been reading this across. So we have here the former and the latter rains. as as my interlinear puts it. I think the interlinear is just kind of doing the interpretive legwork there. The former rains is a reference to uh, the autumn rains, which marked the planting season. So they were. Josh will be back. That means he's gonna miss this really cool point. Whatever. Screw him. The autumn rains mark the planting season, right? They mark the season where the soil becomes fertile and the seeds can begin to really take root, right? The rains first soften the soil, and then throughout the planting season, which is the former rains rather, the former rains soften the soil, allow for easier planting, and then water the seeds once planted. Right? So we get this idea of the first coming of the rains, which plants the seeds, essentially. Or is the cause of the planting of the seeds. The latter rains describes the harvest rains, right, in the spring. That's where you get the spring showers referenced, right? So we get first the rain and then the spring showers. Those are two different things. Right? The Jews understood that as two different comings of the rain. But, and this is critical, and you can go and read about this in the Epistle of James. He mentions it as well. We're going to stick in the Old Testament for now. They understood the rains as the same thing. There was a start with the former rains, and the latter rains was the end of the same thing. Two comings, one substance. That's what's being portrayed here in Hosea 6. The Lord's coming will be two. He will come first to plant the seeds, and then the second time at the harvest. Right? The time when the rains, give the last nutrients to the plants, are gathered up and then taken. That's what's being portrayed here, which tells us then, if we are combining Psalm 2 with the victorious Messiah who is God, and Zechariah, specifically Zechariah 12, with the suffering Messiah who is God, who is pierced. We have first the coming. Right? We have the first coming, which is Zechariah 3 laid out, is the Messiah. And we have the second coming, is Messiah ben Joseph, right? That's the first coming. That's what Zechariah 3 laid out. First, the Messiah ben Joseph had to suffer. He had to have the filthy rags and then be purified. And then the branch comes. All right, so we get first Messiah ben Joseph, then Messiah ben David. Hosea 6 makes it clear those are the same person. We get first the suffering, the coming of the Messiah, and he suffers, then the coming of the Messiah in victory. We have Hosea 6 making it clear those are the same person. Two comings, one substance. That's the takeaway here. Right? The coming of the Lord is compared to two comings, one substance. Almost committed heresy there. Barely avoided it, because that's how we roll. That's when I text Josh, God is so cool. Right? To have that line in Zechariah 10, right, all the way back in Zechariah 10. Let me pull it up. To have the line, ask the Lord for rain in the season of spring rain. The Lord makes the rain clouds. He will give them showers of rain and crops in the field for everyone. God is going to provide this victorious coming. We need to be in prayer for it. We need to be seeking it out. But when did the suffering Messiah come? Now we're going to switch to the polemic. Right? We've been doing a lot of background, a lot of explanation, a little bit of apologetics, but now we're going to switch to the polemic. Right? And I'll try to be quick with it because we are approaching the 2-hour mark. So, do we know when the first coming is, right? So we know that we will have a suffering Messiah who is pierced and then will return in victory, right? So we have that same person who is going to be both Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David. Now we need to figure out, when is the Messiah ben Joseph, right? When is he coming as Messiah ben Joseph, this same one person? And Josh is away. He can't pull it up. So you are going to, I know this is a difficult burden for you, but you're going to actually have to physically turn your Bible to Daniel chapter 9. I know that's difficult, but you'll make it. I believe in you. And we are going to be aiming for verses 24 through 27. Give you a second turn there. Oh, he's back.
The ice broke our pool, and it was just dumping water.
Oh.
And there were koi ducks. My mom couldn't look at it, so she needed me to go look at it because our little dogs cannot fight koi dogs at 9 months old.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Wow, that's awful.
Yeah, where it broke though, it is going to dump out water. It's not going to be too much water, so we got to look at the spray and decide if we're going to put the money into replacing it or if it's going to be too much money. That's why it
Dang.
vanished.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah.
You also missed like the really cool culmination where I talked about how the Messiah, the two comings of the Messiah are still just one person.
Whoa. You mean Jesus?
All right, no, we haven't identified that yet. We're getting there
Oh.
right now. We've just identified that this Messiah is two persons, or this Messiah, rather, the two persons are actually one person. It is two comings, but one substance. Now we're going to get to the part that you just spoiled for everyone.
Okay, we're a Christian
Unbelievable.
channel. It's obvious.
So we are in Daniel 9.
Okay. Did you do Daniel 7?
No, I did not. I did not.
Oh.
Well, that's your wheelhouse, my guy. You're going to be talking about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, all right. So I specifically didn't do Daniel 7 for that exact. There are several passages I avoided here because I'm like, Josh is going to talk about these, and I know he is. So I will leave them for him. I will be nice.
We can do double duty.
We're in 24 to 27.
Okay.
70 weeks are decreed about your people and your holy city, to bring the rebellion to an end, to put a stop to sin, to wipe away iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. Know and understand this. From the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. It will be rebuilt with a plaza and a moat, but in difficult times. After those 62 weeks, the Messiah will be cut off and will have nothing. The people of the coming prince will destroy the city and the sanctuary. The end will come with a flood, and until the end, there will be war. Desolations are decreed. Excuse me. He will make a firm covenant with many for 1 week, but in the middle of the week, he will put a stop to the sacrifice and offering. And the abomination of desolation will be on a wing of the temple until the decreed destruction is poured out on the desolator. A lot to unpack there. Now, a lot of people here jump to the timetable, right, and say, well, we've got the 70 of 70s. Josh is smirking. Also, if you want to take the Bible off the screen, that's the last passage I have.
I'm just laughing because
So there you
I
go.
was in a church. I visited a church like last year that was going on about dispensationalism, and this was the passage they went to.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go dispensational on you, although I do think it's a funny little coinkydink how the timing lines up there between the decree and the Jesus's arrival. Just saying. But yeah, I'm not going to go dispensationalist on you. Anyways, the modern state of Israel. No, I'm kidding. Wait, hang on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Oh,
Sorry, I couldn't resist. That's just perfect timing. Anyways, so the timetable, frankly, is irrelevant to me here. What is plain in the text, regardless of how you want to look at it, is that the Messiah comes before the destruction of the temple. The destruction of the temple occurs in 70 AD. Ergo, the Messiah must come before 70 AD. You cannot get around that. But some try to. Some say that this is not the Messiah, but simply an anointed one. But this definitely does not mesh well with the rest of Daniel, particularly not Daniel 7. I mean, I feel like we've been doing that this whole stream, no?
I think it's one about the specific Hebrew word.
Wait, hang on. Um, special pleading, question mark? So other than the instance where Messiah is explicitly referred to as Messiah, the anointed one. Other than that instance, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. Sorry if it comes off that way. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like other than that instance, can I show you an instance? In which case, yes, sure. I mean, if you're looking for like exclusively the Messiah, I mean Psalm 2. We talked about it a little earlier. I don't know if you were here for that or not. Limit break. You might not have been. Uh, Psalm 2 mentions it specifically as the Lord's anointed one and clarifies that this is a ruler from heaven. No. No, I would say not. Not in the immediate context because the person described there is one of God's authority.
If I could, just to clarify for him,
Go for
or
it.
asking for clarification for him, because I'm seeing two different kinds of comments. Um, are you looking for where it's referring to him being of the lineage of David, or that he is David? Because your earlier one was son of David, and this one was this is David. And so that's why I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're asking.
Yeah, no, it would be difficult to make this case about uh, that this is about David, right? Because then you have the commandment that, well, hang on, no, because like we set up in verse 2 that this is in fact about the Messiah, right? We set up in verse 2 that this is in fact about the Messiah, right? It's the Lord's anointed, whom he calls his son, that he's going to make the nations the inheritance of this person. Well, that doesn't happen to David. And the ends of the earth his possession. Well, that certainly doesn't happen under David. Honestly, if anything, it happens more so under Solomon. But even then, Son of God, not in the same sense as is being portrayed here,
Yeah,
right?
David's
Because
sometimes called son of God or firstborn because
and
he's
I
playing
think
a representative role that Israel plays, and he calls Israel the same thing. But
yeah, but I think it's very clear here, at the very least, that verse 12 completely wrecks that idea. Right? Pay homage to the Son. What are people going to supposed to now start worshiping David? Is that what the psalmist is commanding? Well, I mean, firstly, you're assuming this is Davidic, right? People attribute this to David. It's not inherently Davidic. Right? There is no explicit author of Psalm 2. We have
no, I
attributed it through tradition to David, but that's never actually mentioned.
no, I think he was saying it seems that David could be argued as an anointed one in this passage.
I don't think that's the case because of verse 12, right? Because then you're suggesting that David, even in some archetype, is being worshipped. I don't know what that's a reference to. Oh,
No, I
I
think
think
he
he's
was
saying
saying
that
yes to what I
yes
was
to
saying.
you. Yes to you. Okay. So yeah, no, I don't think that's really a possible argument here, truthfully, because of verse 12. Because then you're suggesting that David is accepting worship, or that it's saying you'd have to worship David or die, which is not exactly a biblical idea. Annie Hoozle. That's what paid homage means, my guy. How else do you pay homage to something?
Are you talking about verse 12?
Yes, sir.
Are you talking about the kiss the son?
What's up?
Are you talking about the first bit, kiss the son?
Hang
He
on.
states it.
I gotta flip there. Yes. But okay, so a kiss is worship. You got to understand the context they're writing in, right? So no. But again, look at what the rest of the verse is also saying, right? Kiss the son, or else you're gonna die. If you don't kiss the king, you're going to die. Right? The kissing is a form of honoring. It's a paying homage to. It's an acknowledgement of hierarchy. It's a worshipful act. Maybe I wasn't making that point clear. That's what's being conveyed here. I'm not saying. I think this was not really. Not really. The only time I can remember David doing a sort of honor killing is when he uh, killed the man for disrespecting Saul, but that was more because he mocked God's anointed, not because he was like, yeah, no, that's not the same thing. That guy was laughing at God's anointed, right? And in fact, laughing at God. Josh, you look exhausted.
My eyes are a little bit. I
All right,
don't feel
we'll
tired. My
wrap.
eyes are being beaten.
I was gonna say we'll wrap this up. Um, Annie Hoozle, Daniel 9. Regardless of anything else there, it doesn't make sense to say it would be another anointed. Uh, where am I in my notes? There we go. Yeah, it doesn't make sense with the rest of Daniel, right? Because let's take this little discussion we had. Daniel 7. the Son of Man riding on the clouds of heaven. Um, that's, I mean, Josh would be the first one to tell you that is an exceptionally divine event and a very divine claim. And then that's followed up by this discussion. Yes, but the priesthood is restored through Christ. I guess I'm not sure I see the relevance there. It doesn't make sense in the rest of Daniel to say that this is not the God who is Messiah who comes. Right. So then others will object and say that this prophecy was contingent. This prophecy in Daniel 9, that is, was contingent, but that Israel's sin disqualified it. Could be a high priest in theory. You'd need to show some textual evidence to support that. You would need to show that the Son of Man, who rides the clouds of heaven, is a high priest. In which case you are elevating a high priest to the stature of God.
I will say, just to tie in New Testament language, Jesus is the high priest.
Right, that's what I said. Yeah, exactly.
So
But
you get your high priest in Jesus already.
exactly. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, we understood that. The problem is whom? Whomstead of, as I like to toss out a meme every once in a while. Whomstead of. You would have to have somebody. Yes. Yeah, I think you need to prove that from the textual context. I don't think that's feasible given Daniel 7. Right, like we're looking at the fullness of the context of Daniel 9. He is praying, Daniel is praying for the salvation of Israel, for the forgiveness of sins over Israel, for the replenishment of God's sanctuary, for another Exodus, and then it leads right into this section here. There really doesn't seem to be anything that suggests this could be about anybody other than the Messiah. Correct. And then, as we've established many times in recent streams, Jesus is the temple. This is foretelling the coming of the actual complete temple. But he's praying for this temple to be built, and then he has a vision in which the temple is destroyed. Right, which brings me back to my notes, and really we're just going to plow through this last bit. It is 10:10 at night. I need to go to bed.
We were also supposed to record another episode.
I can't hear you. My headphones are being goofy. Try again.
We were also supposed to record an episode about anything that's happening tonight.
We still could. We still could. Oh boy. Oh boy.
We'll talk after.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I was gonna eat my peanut butter Christmas tree. Let you deal with that.
Oh boy. I am not getting into the abomination of desolation right now. The point is, the temple was destroyed. Daniel clearly says Messiah, regardless of the typological context that you're trying to insert here. And I don't think there is one, right? Again, you'd still have to prove that it's more than just a theory that a high priest theoretically could fill the office of God. Right, because again, that's what you've effectively proposed here. You'd have to back that with some evidence. I didn't say that. I said we're not going to get into that right now. That is off topic, my guy. That's the point here. We've been streaming for over 2 hours. Josh and I still have to record something else tonight. That is a discussion for another time. No, I am packed Saturday.
Never
I
mind.
work I work 2 shifts.
Yikes.
Correct, I did, because it's about the destruction of the temple, which is what we're
Here, I'll just
talking
do this.
about,
I got
but
this.
not the abomination of desolation right now. We are not talking about that right now.
I got this. So this stream is a focused polemic apologetic regarding Messiah figure and building up the looking at the two comings and how the text talks about these two different comings because as Paul points out that God kept it somewhat cryptic so that way they wouldn't prevent Jesus from being crucified on the cross. However, Jesus is also shown in the book of Luke that Jesus shows them where he is after he is resurrected and showing how all these things tie together, which means you can see how these all tie together if you spend time with the Old Testament. Caleb's purpose here is to try and tie some of these things together. Some, not all, but some of these things together as it leads up to New Testament as a polemic and apologetic, meaning that there are some things that are just not going to be talked about because it's not on topic with this particular focus. This is a very specific focus. It is not here to interpret the entirety.
It is not here to discuss dispensationalism. Let's put it that way.
It's not here to interpret every single verse around. It's here to look at specifically Messiah-specific passages.
Because,
And what
sorry,
they
I
refer
don't
to.
mean to harp on this, but this comment followed by. Oh, come on now. This comment sent up red flags. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like. We all know where that path leads. And we are not getting into a conversation about that right now.
Look, I don't care what your view is on that kind of stuff or not. It's just not the focus of tonight.
Right.
So
That's
I
our point.
appreciate the thoughts and questions, but there's a reason why he's saying that we're not going to get into it. Is because it's not on focus.
Right. Perhaps another time, as the Lord wills it. All that to say, the destruction of the temple post dates the coming Messiah. Right? And so that's right. We were talking about the contingency. Right. Some will say, well, it was contingent upon the sin of Israel, and Israel was sinful. Therefore, the temple. Therefore, the Messiah did not come. And so I would like to propose the following questions. 1. What was Israel's sin that was so great it prevented the coming of the Messiah? Right? In the first century, what is Israel's sin that is so extensive? That is so extensive that the Messiah was like, nope, not coming right now. 2. And why is it that the sin was so great as to prevent the fulfillment of one half of the prophecy, but not the other? Right? Why is it that the temple is still destroyed, so that part of the prophecy still comes true, but not the Messiah's coming? Would that not give people the false impression that the Messiah had already come? Right? If Jesus is not in fact the Messiah, but he is the most Messiah-like figure you get before the temple is destroyed, would people not then make the connection, oh, okay, he is the Messiah? Right? That's in the event that Jesus is not the Messiah. Again, not relevant to the point. I mean, temple offerings accepted in what sense? In the fact that you can still provide an offering to God? Yeah, in the sense that it was good for the forgiveness of sins? No. Right? Jesus' work on the cross and his resurrection abolished that system. Right? It's kind of what it's talking about in verse 27, where it's the establishing of the covenant. That's just on topic as I can make it. If it's not about that, it's not on topic. Third, if the sin in first century Israel was so great, I said square with Malachi. Okay, hang on. I'll get to that question in a moment. If the sin in Israel is so great in the first century, why do you trust any of the theology that comes out of that time? Right? Unitarian Judaism and the foundations of rabbinic tradition come from the first century. Right? Historically, like that's just a fact. How could you trust such sinful men who do not write words guided by God, right? Like you do not consider scripture to have originated from that time. How can you trust them with the future of your faith? Those are the three questions from Daniel 9 if you're going to say that the prophecy was contingent upon the sins of Israel or it has not come to fruition yet. How then? You have to answer those three questions then, right? So, what was the sin that prevented the Messiah? Why was only part of the prophecy fulfilled? And, excuse me, I'm dying. Yeah, oh my goodness, I'm really dying. Excuse me. And how can you trust such sinful Israel? Ergo, right? So if those questions part of the prophecy, yes, part of the prophecy is in the destruction of the temple. That still occurs, right? I mean, I don't think you're going to debate that the temple is destroyed. Josh looks like he's about to have an aneurysm. The temple is still destroyed in AD 70. I don't think you're going to debate that as a historical fact. I mean, you can. That would be a life decision. But I don't think you're going to contend with that. That would be the part of the prophecy that is fulfilled. The part that is not, according to the objection here, is the coming of the Messiah. Sweet Caroline, dude. Bum, bum, bum.
All right. I'm making an executive decision as the boss. Comments are no longer allowed to be read for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I am curious what he meant by how does that square with Malachi 3, 1 through 4. That's just me satisfying my own curiosity at this point. 3. See, I am going to send my messenger, and he will clear the way before me. Then the Lord you seek will suddenly come to his temple. Correct. The messenger of the covenant you desire, see, he is coming, says the Lord of hosts. But who can endure the day of his coming, and who will be able to stand when he appears? For he will be like a refiner's fire, like a cleansing lye. He will be like a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the sons of Levi and refine them like gold and silver. Correct. Then they will present offerings to the Lord in righteousness. And the offerings of Judah and Jerusalem will please the Lord in the days of old, as in the days of old in the years gone by. I would just say Romans 12. Romans 12 answers that outright, as well as the book of Hebrews. It's going to explain it far better than I can. Essentially, that we become the sacrifices. We become offerings to God. Right? Not offerings for sin, but offerings for the glory of God, which are absolutely still acceptable in practice. There are two different kinds of offerings. So anyways, that is all that I had. We start with Zechariah, where we get the two messiahs. One of them is, or both are appointed to the office of God. Psalm 2 identifies the victorious Messiah as the Son of God. Hosea 6 says these are the same person. not sacrifices for sin, sacrifices for paying reverence. Right? So, and then actually, not really sacrifices, more so offerings. Right? Like Elijah on Mount Carmel, is he offering the bull as Josh is leaving? He's done. The bull that Elijah offers on Mount Carmel, is that a sin offering, or is that an offering of homage, of reverence, of worship? Because those are absolutely still acceptable because you are that offering. You, as the believer, offer it to God, to Christ, who is the temple. Right? That's Romans 12, and that's the book of Hebrews. The sin offering has already been paid for. Right? That is Christ's death and resurrection. Well, his death, and then the resurrection brings new life. He's back. Welcome back. The continual worship offering is yourself. You offer yourself up to God. Anyways, Zechariah, Messiah in humility and suffering, Messiah in glory and victory. Psalm 2, Messiah is the Son of God. Hosea 6, the two comings are still one person. Daniel 9, that person has already come. The first coming has happened. That needs to be accounted for. If it's not accounted for, then I think we can move on. That's all I got.
Epic. Normally around this time, I would say, hey, we'll chill, but can't do that.
We got stuff to do.
Got stuff to do, and it's late, and my window might be closing, depending on if people neighboring my rooms have to go to bed. So we need to cook. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this. We'll have this version processed sometime tomorrow, and then I'll have a edited version where we cut out all the interruptions, and we can maybe have that by Saturday. So there's a cleaned up full version where you can have a nice stream of flow thoughts. But
I thought you were going to say so. Oh, okay. I thought you were sick. I don't know if he's going to say something else. Do I go? Does he go?
but with that said, thank you guys for chilling with us. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm just going to make it short.
I was going to say, you didn't give me a chance to say something funny.
No, we're just making it short. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what kind of stuff you want us to cover next. Lord willing, we'll be back Tuesday, continuing our Matthew and Exodus study, and then Lord willing, again, be back next Thursday, where we'll be doing a reaction apologetic to a argument made by a Jew regarding Christianity. All that said, peace out. See you guys next time.